We're live.
All rise, please. Join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Penny, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Burns.
Here.
Miss Angeline.
Here.
Miss Meyer.
Here.
Miss Meister. Mr. Babel.
Here.
Miss Bolton.
Here.
We have a quorum 5-0. So what I'd like to do to start off with a little bit out of the order, because Ms. Meister notified us that she would not be able to be here this evening. I'm asking for a motion to excuse her absence.
So moved.
Motion, it was moved by Mr. Babel. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Burns. Any further discussion? No discussion. Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns.
Yes.
Miss Angeline.
Yes.
Miss Meyer.
Yes.
Mr. Babel.
Yay.
Miss Bolton.
Yay.
Motion passes 5-0. First of all, before we start, we're mixing this up a little bit. We're going to start our meetings in the future with the mayor's comments first before we go into the regular session. I'd like to welcome everyone, especially those who are at home watching the Village YouTube channel. I'd like to remind everybody that we have a weekly newsletter that comes out every Monday morning at 9 o'clock. If you have not signed up for that, if you want to have information on what's going on in the village, that's a good avenue for you to pursue. As we open the 2026 legislative session for the Village of Cleves Council, I'd first like to congratulate our newly elected council members, Stephanie Meyer-Cromer, Ted Babel, Mary Angeline, and Kevin Burns. So welcome everybody. We're glad to see you back again this year. Yeah, absolutely.
Suckers.
All right, so I want everybody at home to know they were sworn in before January 1st, 2026. We took that opportunity to ensure council could legally take action in the event of an emergency. At this time, I'd like to announce the committee chairpersons and the members of their council. One of my few powers is to appoint committees. So I will start first with Finance and Economic Development. The chairperson is Linda Bolton, and the members will be Jerry Meister and Kevin Burns. Parks will be Kevin Burns as the chairperson, with members Linda Bolton and Mary Angeline. Public Safety, our chairperson will be Jerry Meister, members Ted Babel, Stephanie Meyer-Cromer. And our last committee is new this year, although we have had this in the past. We're going to have a planning and zoning chairperson. That person is going to be Ted Babel. Members are going to be Mary Angeline and Stephanie Meyer-Cromer. This is going to be a very important committee, and it's going to operate a little differently than our other committees. Probably at the very beginning of the year, there's going to be multiple meetings with this committee, and I'd like to explain to the community and to the council why. We have been working for the past year with Hamilton County to revise our zoning code, and that zoning code is called the Model Zoning Code. The Board of Zoning Appeals have attended, at least 3 of them have attended those meetings, and those members have given their input as community members. However, it's going to take legislative action in order to enact that new code. So we have one last meeting with Hamilton County. We have the preliminary draft. Mr. Babel has a copy of that. I don't know if we have our copies yet. Did you take care of that, Mr. Haley, or not, as far as getting the copies from Staples?
No, they're on order.
They're on order, okay. So we will get those to you as quickly as possible. And the reason why we need to do this is that Justin has secured a planning grant. I believe it's around $30,000, and that's primarily because of his very active role of leading our Board of Zoning Appeals meeting and working very closely with Hamilton County. That money is designed to redevelop or plan the redevelopment of the downtown area on South Miami, which is called our Founders District. So we've been working on this for about a year. We're not the only ones. North Bend also went through this process before us. My hope is that with council members being part of this committee and reviewing the actual document, that they can actually come up with information that can be shared with other members of council, not to discuss, but to make sure they're aware of what's in the actual code. And Mr. Babel, I know you have an idea as to how you want to proceed with that as far as marking it up. If you want to take a second here and maybe share that, that would be a good way of.
Well, the first thing I plan on doing is I think it's imperative that we do a comparison of what we had before and what's new now. So everybody on council knows exactly what we're changing and what we're not changing, what we're improving and what needs to be changed. And I think that's important because there's a lot of good stuff in the new one. And we just need to go through page by page, paragraph by paragraph, and make sure we're not missing anything that should be in the old, that was in the old that should be in the new. So once we get all that locked down in place, that helps everything else, get the ball rolling on everything.
Thank you. And Justin, if you would please, maybe if you would like to expand a little bit more on the redevelopment district, the founders district, and sort of what you look for as to why this particular legislation. I think your deadline is to pass it by, I thought it was March 1st, it may have been later. But there's sort of a reason behind that. Would you mind sharing that, please?
Sure. The goal is to move this for a formal final vote on our council meeting March 11th, with the first reading at our February meeting on the 11th of February. There's many reasons why we need to get this adopted. Primarily because of our efforts in economic development. We have commercial and residential developments underway. Currently, we're operating under an antiquated system. So it's imperative that we obtain a new model zoning code before construction's underway. Additionally, we're active in our zoning and code enforcement initiatives, and a lot of these nagging or plaguing issues don't have a clear direction or clear resolution in our current manual. So I think that when we're able to pass our new model zoning code, it's going to facilitate streamlined development, and it's also going to cut the backlog in zoning and code enforcement.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
Yeah, are you hoping to have then 2 meetings in February in order to do a 3 reading on it? Or are you hoping to do a 1 meeting and then a vote and eliminate the, because we'd still have to do it by emergency if we don't have 3 readings, correct?
For basic rules, yes.
So if you want, this is something we talked about, that this is an important item, major changes in our zoning code. It hasn't been changed since 1968. So it's probably not appropriate due to the largeness of it. That's stupid. The magnitude of it, for us to do it by emergency. I think probably a 3 reading is appropriate. So can we get enough of us together at the end of February to do a 2nd reading?
I think we can eliminate a lot of this, a lot of the cloudiness. If I'm going to go page by page, and being that I dealt with the old manual when I was a building inspector years ago, and I'm going to do that comparison, and I'm going to bring a report back to council saying these items here is what's been changed and why they've been changed. So there's a lot of transparencies are going to go on where other members of council really don't have to do the research. It'll all be done for you.
Yeah, but what about the public?
Um,
One of the reasons you do 3 readings is to give the
Right.
public a chance for their input, and at some point,
What is the significance of March? Like, why not April? Yeah.
I think Justin's the only one that can answer that question.
was the question? Why March? and not
Yeah,
April?
why March, why can't we do it in the three, you know? But I
Sure.
do think that we do a lot of these emergency meetings, that really, you know, there's a reason why we're supposed to have it read 3 times.
I think under the rules for emergency measure, this initiative definitely qualifies for emergency measure. We're unable to effectively govern in our current antiquated model. Second reason being, we had a timeline that's been established throughout this process in our monthly meetings over the last 18 months. And those, at least the last 12 of those over the last fiscal year have all been public meetings, open to the public. Now, ultimately, it's up to council if we want to push it back to April. The issue, if we push it to April, is we had an original deadline set of February. Already going to miss that, but I thought it was important
Well, that was the deadline the committee set, correct, to try to have it done by
Sure,
a year
yes.
or whatever.
It would have been over a year, but we originally set it for February for it to go to council. So I felt pushing it back to March was prudent. If council feels that April is a better goal, then we can take that into consideration. It is important that we have our model zoning code adopted before we begin our work on the mini planning grant. And we only have until December to execute that entire plan. So it's a lengthy process.
Does that answer your question?
I mean, it does, I feel like 90% of everything we do in an emergency situation. And I feel like we need to try to get away from
I
that.
mean, let's face it, we could adopt every ordinance we want to by month.
Yeah.
And we did a lot for the 18 years I was here, but for really important things, we did the readings and we gave the public a chance to, you know, if you put in your zoning code that fences around pools have to be 5 foot, it's good that the residents would have an opportunity to come in and say, wait a minute, almost all fences are 4 foot, but you're putting 5 foot. It give them a chance to at least give us feedback on those kind of issues. My fence wouldn't qualify, I don't have to replace it, but mine's a 4 footer.
So
So if we're changing something like that, I think it's important that the public know.
I would say that the new zoning manual that I have, that the committee's done a lot of good work, is twice as much as what's in the original one
Right.
now.
Right,
And there's a lot to go through. I just began searching through some of it, and I sat through some of the meetings, and there was a couple items that were talked about in that meeting that aren't in that manual. So that's why I'm going through page by page by page and make sure everything's addressed.
well, and I appreciate that, I just want to make sure the public is also aware.
Well, I mean, for the public to come in and see this whole manual, which I actually, you know, it'll go online, I'm sure it'll go live, everybody, but once it's approved. But to have, read the whole thing.
Well, I'm just wondering if it can go online in a draft form. Once you do a first reading, it's public, correct? If we do a first reading, Rob, can someone request a copy of it?
Yes.
So we might be able to go online with it after a first reading. Even if we're gonna make changes, you just have to put draft in the watermark behind it perhaps. And make sure that there's a statement saying that it. But if we do a first reading and changes are made, how is that affected then?
Right. Right. I mean, just a simple example is, the very first title page doesn't say anything about Cleves zoning. It's just a generic front page. It just doesn't say Cleves zoning ordinances or anything like that. So those little things that we're gonna have to fine tune and get in place.
Well, I think some of that would be before the first reading.
Right, that's why I'm gonna
Yeah,
go through
okay.
piece by
Well,
piece.
I think council needs to make that decision. I don't care to come to an extra meeting in February if it's really important to do it by March, but I want to do 3 readings.
So, a comment is basically of agreement with Linda. I do think everything you said, I think it's important to do in the third reading. If we can't establish that there are any, concrete consequences of postponing to April, I think we can keep the normal schedule and keep us a little bit saner. If, for example, we don't believe that we can use the draft operationally to start planning, if we think that'll just pull the rug out from under us too much, we can have that extra meeting, but I suggest that you probably could start working from the new material, even in draft form. Like, I don't think you're gonna get huge disagreement from council. I think it's gonna be issue by issue if there's anything from the public. You know, we saw when they came in saying, well, what about my car that has a ladder on it, but it's, 8.3 feet? That we can consider those things. So if, for example, that like you need something in writing, which and approved, which tends to happen with grants and other activities on the administrative level, we'll definitely hear, and I'll definitely be interested in facilitating getting that done earlier. I do have a question. What happened to the supposed revisions that were done in 2015 in response to the planning study that they conducted before I showed up? Like,
You're talking about the one that they did where it was almost a schematic and it showed the downtown areas and things such as that.
And provisions about who has to have the right kind of awnings and everything needs to be 2 stories and so forth and so forth. Like, that was.
I can give you a partial answer to that.
Right.
Hamilton County is well aware of that project being done. That was supposed to have been carried out by Mr. Rahal back when he first started as the village administrator. There's a lot of things that have changed as far as the model zoning code is concerned since then. And Hamilton County made a decision that they were going to try to streamline things so that regardless of what community you went into, you would be able to sort of have a similar, the actual code itself would be local. But if you took a manual from North Bend and a manual from Cleves, and you move from North Bend to Cleves or Cleves to North Bend, people would be familiar enough with the actual layout of it, the titles of it, the different charts, which seems to have been a problem. And that's why they started this model code. That didn't exist back then. The plan is still available. I mean, we still have copies of it that might be used in the process of the planning grant. But I think, Justin, maybe you could explain to everybody a little bit better what that $30,000 would be used for.
Before you do that, my question is slightly different.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we voted that in.
I don't know what you guys did at that point. I just know it was
We say that we have
never
a 68.
I think it was separate from the zoning. We had a zoning ordinance that addressed all the zoning issues. This was more like an economic development plan. I think they were separate. They weren't combined. Not while I
I'm not
was.
talking about the PowerPoint. I'm talking about, I'm disappointed if my memory serves me so poorly, but like, I remember voting in these specifications as to what could be built. That's why I thought Skyline was built the way that it was, so that it would look like 2 stories, only to find out it was modeled after another one. But,
From what I remember, it was 2 totally, because they were trying to tell you what colors you could paint your buildings, what kind of awning you could put on. I mean, it wasn't the normal zoning ordinance. It was separate, I think, if I remember.
So that may require more research.
Sounds like it.
so what we can say is that in our process of digitizing and compiling our existing ordinances, that one did not turn out. Let's say.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Jerry would probably know.
Nothing I'm aware of either. I tell you, there's a special district annex in our model zoning draft, which will address the revitalization.
I understand we're moving forward in a different direction. It's been laid out for us and we're modifying it. I understand what we're doing here, but I've been surprised to hear you say that it hasn't been amended. So, and we are still in the mayor's report. If you would like him to respond to the cue,
No,
just
he
give him.
can respond at this point because, my view of this is I wanted to make sure we got these things out there and talked about. I know legislative authority has to be part of this process, and you are the ones who are going to do that. The fact that we had committee meetings and there were residents on that committee is not the same thing as council having a time, their input, their questions. I agree with Linda. I think it does need to be 3 readings. That can be done in a variety of ways. But, and to answer you, Stephanie, just one step further, it used to be this council, and Linda, you correct me if I'm wrong, it used to be they met twice a month.
Yes, they did.
And
I remember every painful meeting.
and that-
Cause I had to do the minutes, 6, 7 pages long,
And-
yes.
and
I remember.
that's a lot of meetings, okay? But I think when you're dealing with something as important as this, it is very important that you have 3 readings and the community has an opportunity. And to answer your question, Linda, it is very simple for me to take a PDF, put it on the website and make it available to the public.
As long as we make it clear that it's a draft, that it's a working document.
So any other questions or you would like to ask Mr. Hagan or not?
Do you have an idea when we'll be able to get our copy for review?
I was,
2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I would hope by next week.
Okay, that's fine.
I
I'm not
just-
rushing you, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I was just passed off to me yesterday, and so finalize it with the printing company hopefully tomorrow. And generally it takes them less than a week to print something.
That's fine, it's enough time.
I will let council know when I have them completed.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I'd like to move on then. One of the things we're supposed to do is make sure the public knows exactly where we post our notices. And so on our website, I have them posted, okay? And they are the Cleves Post Office, the municipal building, the Miami Township branch of the public library, Maryland's Hardware, and Cleves Waterworks building. I'd like to have a motion to approve that, so that we can put that on the record. That's exactly where they are. Do I have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Motion made by Mrs. Bolton. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Angeline. Any questions? Other suggestions where you think we should post it? It's on our website too. We need to have that on. Any other questions? Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Miss Angeline,
Yes.
Ms. Meyer,
Yes.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Ms. Bolton.
Yay.
Motion passes 5-0. Okay, so as we open our legislative session tonight, I'd like to remind everybody that this is the 250th birthday of our nation. And I'd like to remind our residents that Cleves is an official America, Ohio 250 village. Our committee has been working diligently to plan events to celebrate our nation's birth. And if you've been getting our newsletters, we've been putting that out very regularly about different things that we're doing. Throughout the year, we will host events that highlight the history of the village of Cleves, North Bend, Addison, and Miami Township. I know that North Bend has their own committee. We're not going to duplicate their things, but we may have some things that we will work through on that. We're inviting every one of our citizens to participate. Currently, we're hosting a Friday Fun Fact, highlight our history here in the village of Cleves. There are articles each week in our weekly newsletter, This Week in the Village, and special announcements that are sent out from the committee. The thing that we really have to look at is how to raise money. We have had virtually no help. None of the areas have. North Bend has not, Addison, Miami Town, and we meet with them too. They've really received no funding from the state of Ohio. It seems to be going pretty much Columbus North. Not surprising. So we have to pretty much do it on our own. So we are in the process of selling items. One of them is right here, okay, and there's coffee cups, America, Ohio 250. We sell those for $10. This particular ornament here is an Ohio, it's actually a 250th America, Ohio. And on Amazon, I believe they go for $40. We're selling them here for $20. Okay, and you can order these by sending an email to our village clerk, Penny Williams. And so all of that money goes into an Ohio 250 account. I talked to Miss Ozer, who is not here tonight. And the reason she's not here tonight is I believe her daughter is in the hospital giving birth to their first grandchild. So congratulations.
That's no excuse.
That's no excuse, yeah. Okay, somebody who spent, what was it, a week out in
Six
Utah?
long days in Salt Lake City with my
We're also
grandchildren.
selling these America, Ohio, and their metal cups. These are produced out in Kazakhstan. We try to keep as much as we can local. They cost $18. Right now, we have not determined a final price on this. I think they may be listed in a message that went out for as $20, but it probably won't be $20. There's some things we need to do on that to get that price down, if at all possible. But any profits we make go straight into that account. Currently, we have some donations, okay, that have been made, and eventually those donors will be there'll be a publicized list that will go out to our community. I know we've received about $300 from residents in Cleves, and we've had some business donations and pledge. We'll probably be getting more of those as we go along, and I'll make sure you get that. I was going to have Ms. Ozer speak tonight about that, but I do know right now we are sitting right around $900 to the good, and there are going to be flags, okay, that are sold. They're garden flags. I do know the price of those. Those are $25. Bev Myers donated, I believe, somewhere around $240 and bought all the materials and donated that to the village of Cleves. We certainly want to thank her for that. And those are being produced as we speak, out in at the Zonkers also. So they've been very supportive of us, and we want to thank them for their support. I also want to ask our residents to support our committee's efforts throughout the year. And by attending, starting off, the America, Ohio flag raising, our flag with the village of Cleves on it, will be done at this building on February 6, 2026. And then following that event, I wanted to invite our residents to join us at the traditional Harrison Day ceremony, starting at the North Bend Council Chambers on Taylor Street, and we will march up to the monument.
When is that?
That I believe is the same day, February 6th. It follows immediately.
Well, I thought you said 26.
No, it's,
So our flag goes up on the 6th,
it is the 6th.
not the 25th. Okay.
So,
Well, that's Harrison's birthday thing, isn't it?
yep. So, we also want to thank some of our residents who have been working very hard to do some very good things. And one of those residents is a Westgate resident by the name of Nancy Grigsby. And she has been working with the American Legion Post here in Cleves. And she brought me a little bit of announcement here that I'm going to read. The village of Cleves, along with other towns, villages, and cities all across America, have joined the America 250 in celebrating our country's 250th birthday. One of our events is displaying military banners on light poles in downtown Cleves, honoring Miami Township residents, Cleves, North Bend, and Addison, and Miami Heights. veterans and active duty military. If you have a hero that you want to honor, there is an application to do that. We will make sure that application is there. The flags are 2x3 printed on heavy vinyl. Banners will be displayed from May through Veterans Day into November. There's space for only 50 banners. Families will have an opportunity to purchase those, and it will remain the property of the family. Reservations for the banners are on a first come, first served basis with payment. Now, I will tell you that figure may change a little bit because I think the American Legion is trying to come up with a donation to offset some of that cost. I just don't know what that is. Applications must be received by Frontier Signs, and that's who they're having, and that's in Harrison, Ohio, no later than March 31st, 2026. There's ample time to produce the banners and have them hung by May. So I will have that information available on the website. And then I would like to also ask people to consider at home, consider making donations by check, clearly marked on a memo line, Cleves, Ohio, America 250 Committee, made out specifically to the village of Cleves and sent to village clerk Penny Williams at 101 North Miami Street, Avenue, Cleves, Ohio 45002. Any donation will be accepted. It could be $1, it could be $5, but it must be written by check so we can account it. We will post names of our contributors in our weekly newsletter and on our website. Very soon, there'll be additional products for sale, and we need to raise over $15,000 to put on this event. We hope that we will attract corporate sponsors, and we'll see how that goes. That information will also be going out to residents and the businesses soon. And then I have one last thing that I would like to remind everybody, and then I am finished with my report. And Monday is Dr. Martin Luther King Day. I want to remind everybody that it's a national holiday, and we should pause to honor the life and the legacy of Dr. King, a leader whose vision, equality, justice, and unity continues to inspire us. His unwavering commitment to civil rights reminds us of the power of courage, passion, and community in creating lasting change. So I ask our residents to please take a little bit of time to celebrate that holiday. And Justin, maybe you could help me if you would. Is that a day where our village, our employees are off? Is that one of our holidays that are off?
Yes.
Okay. So the service department will not be here on that day. So with that said, we're going to return to our regular agenda. And so on that agenda, and Penny, I asked you to put together some wording on these motions. Did you give me that or not?
It's attached to the oath of office. There's a folder that says oath of office.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So,
Chuck, if I could interject first.
sure, absolutely.
Maybe we could say the point of order. We need to add to the agenda specifying a pro tem or vice mayor.
Thank you for saying that. And I have that actually on my list, and I missed that. But I think I have only this problem. I think we need to postpone that to next meeting and have everybody present for that. Currently, Jerry Meister is the pro tempore. And for those at home that don't know what that means, that person serves as mayor in the absence of the mayor. So I agree with you, Kevin. I don't care. We can go ahead and do that if we want to take nominations, and we would have to vote on it. But since she was not here tonight, I sort of crossed that off my list. I don't know what's the pleasure of council.
My pleasure is only fidelity to what our requirements are. But
What are the legal
I
requirements?
know it's a legal requirement.
Can we postpone it though?
I don't know. That would be a Rob question.
to the internet.
Well, I mean, Jerry, does her appointment end on
does.
December 31st?
It does.
So we would not have an acting vice mayor.
We do not. So the question is, Rob,
motion to continue it until you do it.
Does she still want to do that?
Yeah, we could do
I
that.
don't know if she
Make a
does.
motion
make a
that
motion to
she
extend it.
continue until we can address it instead. Make a motion that she.
I think they're asking, is that legal? Okay.
Well, we need to make sure she wants it. With the death of her brother and stuff, she wants it.
Well, I just felt all of council should be part of that.
I
discussion.
agree. I agree. Especially since the person who's currently in that role is not here.
Yeah.
That, they're the one that's missing.
Then I would need a motion to what Rob said.
I will make a motion that we extend, the pro tempore or whatever, Jerry Meister to serve until we meet in February.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Meyer. Any further discussion? Penny, please call the roll, but thank you, Kelly.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Angeline,
Yes.
Ms. Meyer,
Yes.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Ms. Bolton.
Yay.
Thank you. Now I have a couple other motions. We have expiring terms for members of our planning and zoning commission. And that would be Nancy Nichols and Mark Talon. They have both agreed to serve another term. We did not do a lot of meeting last year because there wasn't a lot of development, but there are some developments that are at least rumored to are going to be coming in this year. So I would like someone to make a motion or that to appoint Nancy Nichols and Mark Talon as members of the Planning and Zoning Commission with terms ending on December 31st, 2026. Do I have a motion?
Do we do those? Can we do those for longer than a year? We have to redo them every year?
That's what the term has been set, and it's one of the reasons why Nancy moved over from the Board of Zoning Appeals, because they're staggered terms and longer terms. I think one of the reasons I don't know if there's anything that prohibits it. It may reduce the ability to attract people to volunteer.
Because there's 3 of them, so when does the other one expire?
That one's already expired too, but I've been putting an ad in our newsletter.
So that we have a vacancy.
We have a vacancy. So I'm just asking for a motion to approve the 2 who have agreed to.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mark Talon and Nancy Nichols to the Planning Commission.
Yep.
Effective 2026 to expire December 31st, 2000.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Babel. Any further questions? Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Angeline,
Yes.
Ms. Meyer,
Yes.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Ms. Bolton.
Yay.
Very much. We have, a motion passes 5-0. We have one member of the Board of Zoning Appeals who term will expire or did expire. And so Judy Melchian, is willing to serve another term as a volunteer. That term goes through December 31st, 2030. So
And she's agreed to that?
now you know why Nancy moved away from,
Yeah. Okay.
from the Board of Zoning Appeals. Do I have a motion to approve her for another term starting in 2026 and expiring in December 31st, 2030?
She agreed to this.
I'm sorry?
And she agreed to this.
She has agreed to
So moved.
it. Motion made by Mr. Babel. I assume you're going to second it, Mary?
I mean, if she's not here, shame on her, but yeah.
And the other 2,
That's why Dale never misses a
Don
meeting.
and
They're already sworn in. Their terms have not expired. So I have a motion on the floor. Any further conversation? Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Angeline,
Yes.
Ms. Meyer,
Yes.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Ms. Bolton.
Yay.
And then the last motion I have, and all these have also agreed, as to serve another term starting in 2026 ending on December 31st, 2026, for the Clean Court, which is our property court. And those members are Jason Foley, Dawn Richardson, Sylvia Strigari, Judy Melchian, and Scott Mormon. Do I have a motion to approve those appointments?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Babel, a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Angeline. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I guess Judy's on two different.
Well, they serve,
They're-
she is on two, and the Clean Court's separate from the Board of
I know that.
Appeals.
But I just was making note that she's on both.
Yeah, she is on
She's the
both.
only one that's on both,
She
right?
is the only one that is on both, correct?
Okay.
I thought
They're all on it.
Judy.
No, they're all on
They're all
Board of
on it.
Zoning Appeals. No, they
Yeah.
all are on Board of
Yeah,
Zoning
they're
Appeals.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting. me.
But
Yeah.
Judy's, they had scattered,
They have
That's
staggered,
staggered.
these are
Gotcha.
not staggered terms.
gotcha.
And we did that so that they would expire, and if people wanted to apply for that position, they could do so. Any further questions? Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Miss Angeline,
Yes.
Miss Meyer,
Yes.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Miss Bolton.
Yay.
Motion passes 5-0, and for the public, I want them to know the members that we just appointed will be sworn in, at least the Clean Court members will be sworn in tomorrow night. Okay, and Ms. Nichols will be sworn in when she returns from Mexico. Okay, so she's on vacation right now. And that leads us to a motion to enter executive session. Before I take a motion for that, I want to read the reasons for going into an executive session, and then I would ask a member of the village council to make a motion to go in. And by ORC, we have to have a majority of council voting.
Chuck,
Yeah,
do we
the minutes
want to
and pay
approve the
ordinance.
minutes and the pay ordinance before
Well,
we
we
do
can
that?
do that. I have no problem doing that.
I'm just,
Yeah,
according to
by
the agenda, it's
by the
listed.
agenda, you're right. So if you want, Cindy's not here to answer anything on the pay ordinance. I guess we could go right now with the approval of the minutes, and if there are no questions on the pay ordinance. So is there a motion to approve the minutes, the council meeting from 12/10/25?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Babel. Thank you to Linda. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Bolton. Any further questions? No questions? Penny, call the roll.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Miss Angeline,
Yes.
Miss Meyer,
Yes.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Miss Bolton.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I wasn't at this meeting. Do I need to abstain?
Yes.
Legally,
That's what I know.
Yeah, I forgot that
I'll be too, but
that
you
I
don't
was
have to.
out of town for that meeting. But I made a second motion, so I don't know if we have to,
Right, you don't have to answer that, Rob. I can.
You can make the motion.
okay,
If you want to abstain, that's fine.
okay, I'll abstain.
So motion passes 4-0, one abstention. Now we'll go into the pay ordinance. Do you want to deal with that now, or do you want to wait till next month and talk?
No, I'm ready.
Anybody have questions on the pay ordinance? Then I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion made by Mrs. Bolton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Burns. Any further discussion? Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Miss Angeline,
Yes.
Miss Meyer,
Yes.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Miss Bolton.
Yay.
Okay, now I'm gonna go back onto the executive session, and I'm asking for a motion pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22 G1 and 122.22 G4 for the following purposes, and I'll read each one. To consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual, unless the public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual requests a public hearing. Except as otherwise provided by law, no public body shall hold an executive session for discipline of elected official or conduct related to the performance of the elected official's duties or the elected official's removal from office. If a public body holds an elected session pursuant to G1 of this section, the motion and vote to hold the executive session shall state which one or more of the approved purposes listed in G1 of this section are purposes for which the executive session is to be held, but need not include the name of any person. This is specifically for the purpose of the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual. The second reason is ORC 121.22 G4 to prepare for conduct or review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of employment, specifically to review negotiations concerning the employees and their compensations. Specifically, this reason here is to confer with the village attorney concerning disputes involving the public body that are a subject of pending or imminent court action. Do I have a motion to go into executive session for those reasons?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Babel. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Second by Ms. Angeline. Any questions before we vote? I want to make the following statement before we vote. We will come back out of executive session, and then we will deal with the rest of our business listed on the agenda. So, Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Miss Angeline,
Yes.
Ms. Meyer,
Yes.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Ms. Bolt.
Yay.
Motion approved, 5-0. We're gonna take like a little 5-minute break here. And then Penny, if you would please end this session and confirm that it's no longer recorded.